Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry I don't speak Greek, so I hope everything can be understood in my English. And first of all, thank you very much for being here today. And I want to thank our partner here in Greece, Dalkafoki, that is our distributor. And my name is Francesco Marcelli. I'm Italian, and I'm in charge of the export department of Diasen. We are a company based not far from Ancona, so on the other side of the Adriatic Sea. And today's presentation is called Comfort Domus. Comfort Domus means the house of comfort. And I will introduce you our materials and how we can ensure living comfort to a building through the use of locally sourced material. So just a quick introduction about our brand and our company. We started, the history of our company started 100 years ago with a small production unit of soap to wash hands. After that, during the 70s, the company evolved producing solvents for the building industry. And in 2000, we started and we changed completely the production line of our materials, founding Diasen. So this year we will celebrate the 25th anniversary of our company. And the name Diasen stands for diatonite, our main line of cork-based materials, and sen of Sentinum, the ancient Latin name of the Roman town where we are located in the central part of Italy. And since 2017, we have been certified as a B Corp, a benefit corporation, that stands for companies that pays attention to the territory where they are located, and of course to sustainability. So let's enter the technical part of my presentation, and I want to do it speaking about cork. So how many of you knows what cork is and from cork where it's from? Do you know where it's from, cork? From which countries? Okay, so cork is a natural material that only grows in certain countries of the Mediterranean, like Portugal, Spain, and of course Italy. And basically, cork is a renewable product that grows on certain oaks. Cork is the best example of circular economy because the supply chain of cork is completely renewable. Think about it, to harvest cork, there's no need of cutting the tree. They just take out the bark from the oak, as you can see from that picture, so it's a completely sustainable process since the beginning. And you know, the main use of cork is for the stoppers of the bottles of wine. What we do is that we recycle this cork, which is a leftover from the industry of the stoppers of the bottles of wine. So we give a new life to this piece of cork. We remove the wooden part out of the material because it's not necessary for our products. And we basically break this pure cork into smaller grains, as you can see from that picture below. So we produce in our factory different sizes of cork granulates. And then we mix those granulates with other locally sourced materials, all coming from the Mediterranean countries, like clay, pumice stone, cellulose fibers, natural hydraulic lime, which is the binder between all the other products. That's why we can say that our materials are lime-based mortars with cork aggregate. And the secret of our production is to keep a balance between the lightness of cork. Think about this is extremely light, 80 kilos per cubic meter, and the density of raw materials like natural hydraulic lime, which is 1,400 kilos per cubic meter. So we ensure a balance between very different products. And think about that the same raw materials that we use in our products nowadays have been used for thousands of years, from the ancient Romans, or think about that a piece of cork like this was used to protect stones in these kind of buildings in Sardinia Island. Those buildings are called nuraghe and were built thousands of years ago. So there is a knowledge about the insulating properties of cork that comes from thousands of years ago. Or think about this iconic dome of the Pantheon in Rome. It was built with pumice stone, with lime, so with a mix of lightweight and highly resistant material at the same time. Or think about that they found pieces of cork in the streets of Ercolano and Pompeii, that were two cities destroyed by Vesuvio volcano thousands of years ago. So it's a proof that cork resists the test of time and, of course, the test of fire. So our materials, our cork-based materials, are a perfect example of a new frontier in architecture, which is called biophilic architecture and design. Biophilic architecture stands for an architecture that has ensure the contact between man and nature through the use of natural ecological materials. So we aim to do so with our cork-based plasters. And that's why we created a word, corkphilia. Philia is a Greek word, and cork means this product. So it's our sense of loving cork and to ensure a direct contact with nature through the use of our cork-based plasters. And so, what is our production? Because this was an introduction of what's before and behind our materials. With cork, we produce a line of plasters called diatonite. So later on, we are available here in our booth. So I suggest you passing by to touch our materials and to see our products. And basically, this is what I was talking about earlier. It's a combination of lightness, because this is an extremely light material, and robustness, resistance. It's highly resistant thanks to natural hydraulic lime. And as the presentation is called Comfort Domus, with this material we are able to ensure different aspects of living comfort in a building. First of all, thermal insulation in the winter time, but mostly in the summertime. This material is able to protect a building against the heat in the summertime, 10 times better than a synthetic material like EPS or XPS because of its density. Acoustic and sound absorption. That is really important because how many times we've been to restaurants with a lot of noise problems. This material is able to absorb the 75% of the sound wave with just 3 centimeters of thickness. Fire protection. This is completely fireproof. Euroclass A1 of fire reaction. Indoor air quality. This material is it's completely natural, it's VOC free, and it absorbs and releases out the humidity, the rising dampness. So this material is absolutely improving the indoor air quality of a building. And then the structural resistance, which is the aspect we are going to see today deeper, because we have a specific version to make structural reinforcement on historic listed building with a lime and cork-based plaster. And think about that all our diatonite renders have the most important certifications in Europe. One, which is really important, it's the EPD and LCA. That means that these materials have the environmental product declaration that certifies the full life cycle from the selection of the raw ingredients up to the possible recycling at the end of the life. Or we have independent certifications from all around Europe, and they contribute to obtain LEED and BREEAM points, which is really important for ecological buildings. So let's see one of our diatonite plasters, because as I said, we have different plasters. For example, we have one diatonite which is called diatonite thermactive and has a lambda of 0037, so it's one of the best thermal insulation plasters available in the market. We have another one which is specific for acoustics, and it's called diatonite acoustics, but today I'll spend a bit more words on diatonite seismactive, which is designed for structural reinforcement specific for seismic areas. As I come from a very seismic area in Italy, like Greece, so we needed a material that could be good for a seismic areas. And think about that this product has a thermal conductivity of 0065, so it combines structural reinforcement plus thermal insulation. It provides a very good thermal diffusivity, 0.11. The thermal diffusivity is a value that nobody speaks about. It's the insulation capacity of a material to protect a building in the summertime against the heat. So that value, the lower is the thermal diffusivity, the better is the insulation in the summertime. And diatonite has a value which is 10 times better than traditional synthetic insulation materials. It means that this product is able to protect a building in the summertime 10 times better. The density is 600 kilos per cubic meter for this specific diatonite. We have also another diatonite which is much lighter, 250 kilos per cubic meters. The compression resistance of diatonite seismactive is 10 Newton per square millimeter, so it is classified as M10 of mechanical resistance. The Euroclass A1 of fire protection, and the breathability value, the mu is 4. So it's a highly breathable product that helps to absorb and release out the moisture. This is how to apply diatonite. So basically, it's a lime-based plaster. So you can spray apply with a pump like that on the outside or as well on the inside of a building in a very easy way. So it's extremely good, especially when you have substrates made of masonries, so with stones, bricks, very regular, because this material is like a foam when you spray. It is able to fill all the gaps in a substrate. And it's possible to make square corners or rounded corners as well. So you can adapt this product to any geometry of a building and to create any type of shape. Think about that in Portugal, we did this kind of renovation of this historic listed building. And as you can see, it has a lot of decorations, a lot of details on the facade. So it would have been impossible to improve the energy efficiency of such type of building with a normal insulation system. So they wanted to use diatonite to have structural reinforcement and, of course, thermal insulation. So they just took out the existing mortar, they applied diatonite, as you can see from the second picture, and that's the final result. So they were able to install our material between all the decorations of the existing facade. Or think about it, it's also possible to create details like those ones that are usually done with synthetic material, at least in Italy. So it's possible to do so with diatonite in order to have a robust and solid structure on top of the wall. Or it's also possible to create lines and decoration on this same material. Of course, it's good for new building as well, for new construction, especially when you have different substrates like concrete, bricks, with diatonite, you can create a unique layer of an insulation material, avoiding any problem of thermal breach. And then, in terms of finishes, you can choose all the finish that you want. In this case, for example, this was a renovation in Dublin, in the Trinity College, and they wanted a very rough aspect, so they just painted in white the rough surface of our material. And this is how it looks, with the visible texture of the product. Otherwise, we provide systems in order to create a completely smooth surface for the material. It's possible to apply it in rounded shaped surfaces, as you can see from these projects we did. And the material has the very good mechanical resistance to be coated with tiles as well. This is another project in Lisbon, because in Portugal there is a huge tradition of tiling surfaces, facades. In this case, the architects selected like a 3D tiles to be applied directly on top of diatonite. So this is to show you the very good mechanical resistance of our material. And then the next frontier of application of our product is to sand the surface and to leave it like this. So I suggest you having a look at this sample later, because all the brown particles that you can see here is cork. So cork remains visible. And this was the corkphilia philosophy that I was speaking about earlier. And this is an innovative aspect of this material, because it's just one product, you sand it, and that's it. You don't need any other coating. So it's a very easy and quick application system. This is a beautiful project of a library that we did in Portugal as well. In this case, the material, the architects, they decided to smooth the lower part of the walls with a white lime-based smoother that we have, and then the upper parts of the walls and the ceilings, diatonite there has been polished and sanded like this. So completely smooth with a very warm sensation. Jointless application. This is another important aspect of our material, because diatonite is reinforced with cellulose fibers. So there are small fibers contained inside this material that gives them a very good flexibility. And diatonite can be applied on big surfaces, like this building in Barcelona, in Spain, where we did the renovation of the main facade, but also the side facade of the building. And as you can see, there's no joint, no window, no door, and of course, no cracks. In that case, there are 4 centimeters of diatonite directly applied onto the bricks, and then finished with one of our finishes, because we also produce specific cork-based finish, like this one, which is highly flexible. This is a cork paint. It's very thin, as you can see. It's 1 millimeter. It's made with a thinner cork, and it's highly flexible. It doesn't crack. So, in terms of structural reinforcement, which is the main topic of this presentation, as I say, diatonite sismactive can be used to make thermal insulation and structural reinforcement of buildings, of historic listed buildings. We have a specific systems with a specific fiberglass mesh and connectors that can be applied on masonries. And we can act on a lot of type of buildings. So normal masonry walls, as you can see. The system as well, it's very easy, because it's diatonite, plus of course the accessories, the mesh and the connectors, and then the finishing system, which can change according to the need of the architect and the final client, of course. We can also work on both sides of a wall. with specific connectors, and our reinforcing system is CRM certified. So it's a composite reinforcing mortar system, and it can be used with thicknesses of 3 centimeters or 5 centimeters with a specific mesh. Think about that to apply the 3 centimeters or the 5 centimeters with the mesh, just 2 coats are needed for the material. And of course, it's possible to use our product in arches and rounded ceilings, for example. This is really important because, as I said before, the density of our material is up to 600 kilos per cubic meter. So it's a lightweight product. It's not like a traditional lime mortar, which is has a double density than us. So this is really lightweight material. It's really important because it doesn't overcharge the building. It doesn't add too much weight to the project. It's also possible to work on top of the dome, for example, and of course on both sides of the building without overcharging the building, and at the same time improving the energy efficiency of the building because of the thermal insulation properties of our material. Let's enter the final part of the presentation with an overview of some of the projects we did, the renovation projects we did in Europe, mostly. This was an abandoned church and monastery on a remote island of Portugal, in the middle of the ocean. So in this case, as you can see, the building was completely abandoned, and it was facing a lot of problems of moisture, a lot of dampness, because you are in the middle of the ocean, so think about the levels of humidity that they had. They used our reinforcing system with 5 centimeters of thickness with the specific mesh and the connectors. And that's the final look of the building. So they improved the aesthetic, the mechanical resistance, and of course the protection against moisture and humidity, and the thermal insulation of the project. So we work both inside and outside of the building, which is another advantage with our materials, because you can provide a very good insulation on both sides. And this is the final look. That was the first phase. We are now working on the second phase of the project, which is all the other part you see on the left side. This was also another refurbishment work we did in Spain, in Mallorca Island. You see the masonries, how it was before our intervention. It was very irregular. So they needed, in this case, they also needed to improve the acoustic of the interiors of this building. So they spray applied diatomite on top of the walls with 3 centimeters of thickness, in this case, and then they just painted in white ceilings and walls. So they improve, of course, the mechanical resistance, but also the acoustic comfort of this building, because it's the headquarters of an association for kids. So you can imagine the noise that they have inside of this building. And so they improve the acoustic. Think about that 3 centimeters of our diatomite absorb the 75% of sound waves. So it's really good to improve the acoustic comfort. This is the renovation of old warehouses of the port of Lisbon. So they were completely abandoned, as you can see from the upper picture, and they've been completely restored with diatomite, outside and inside as well. So they work on the facade and also on the inside. And then you can see another perfect application on top of arches. So you can create different shapes of a building with our diatomite without overcharging the structure. This castle was completely destroyed by a fire. We are in Scotland in this case. A lot of problems of humidity as well. problems of fire because it was destroyed, and they needed to refurbish it, to renovate, and transform it into a 5-star hotel. So they selected our diatonite for all the properties, of course, and mainly for the fire protection properties that we can achieve with diatonite, so the Euroclass A1. This is another restoration we did in Portugal as well. Portugal is a very important market for us. Although all our production is in Italy, we have a lot of big projects there in Portugal because Portugal is the biggest producer of cork in the world. And in this case as well, they had a lot of problems of moisture and masonries that were completely abandoned for more than 30 years. So we were able to renovate the entire building with our solution. In this case, the city council of Setúbal, which is the city where this project is located, made tests on our solutions, but also on other 5 competitors of other brands in this project. And you can guess who was selected to do the project, because our solution was the best one in terms of adhesion on old masonries, and of course the best one in terms of protection against moisture. Now it's a museum. So also here you can see how it's possible to fix frameworks and arts on top of the surfaces of our products without any problem of cracks. This project was designed by Carrilho da Graça, who is one of the most important Portuguese architects, and is doing a lot of renovation projects with our diatonite solutions. So, thank you very much for your attention. I don't know if you have any question, feel free to ask. Also in Greek, if you need any question. No question. Thank you again for your attention. And I invite you to visit our booth with our partner Dalcafochi, which is right here outside of this conference area. Thank you.